A very good evening and welcome to this week's midweek edition of Primetime News. I'm Selima Shumwefeleni Masipa. Leading tonight's bulletin, the Electoral Commission of Namibia, or ECN, announced on Monday that a total of 1.3 million eligible Namibians had registered as voters within the country and at all diplomatic missions abroad. Suzette Chutaura brings us more on this lead story.
The statement said voters registered between the 22nd and 27th July 2024 represent an average of 26,869 registered voters per day, adding that this shows a slight decline compared to the turnout of the previous week of the 15th to the 20th July. The statement shows that at least 6 out of the 14 regions had achieved an 80% and above voters turnout by 27 July 2024. The regions that have achieved 80% registration and above are Omusati with a 90% turnout, Oshana with 89%, Ohangwena with 88%, Kunene with 87% eligible voters, Irongo with 83%, and Oshikoto with 81%. Sheila Perestrello reporting for Primetime News.
In other news, 8 cases of human trafficking have been reported since April 2023 to date in Namibia, with 5 cases currently on the court roll, while 1 case was finalized and a conviction secured. Here is more from Isabel Bento.
There's a need to assess and enhance our prevention initiatives, improve on identifications and protection of victims of human trafficking, as well as prosecution of traffickers. A decade ago, the understanding and the knowledge in defining trafficking in person was primarily the involvement of women trafficked from a poor country into an affluent country for sexual exploitation. Today, there is a great awareness about the diversity of trafficking, which affect both women, men, girls, and boys, and the various ways in which victims may be exploited, like labor, sexual exploitation, forced marriage, and organ removal.
Switching our attention to developments in the Kavango East region. The Namibia National Teachers Union, or NANTU, in the Kavango East region elected its new leadership to steer the Regional Executive Committee forward for the next 5 years. NANTU held its regional conference on the 20th of July at the Dr. Romanus Kampungu Secondary School to put its regional structure in place. Sawi Hausiku brings us this insert.
Yeah, basically the delegates decided. It was not my intention to stand, but because people felt they need to do a bit of a change in the leadership of the region, they approached me. I said if I am to stand, I'll stand as a deputy chairperson, but then later on it was changed again, so I took the top position. There's no other reason. It's just to make changes, and then maybe because people believe in me, who knows? If one need to say the changes need to be done almost everywhere. So now as a region we started changing at the regional level. And our thinking is as we go for Congress there might also be a few changes that we need to do if possible, so that we bring the union back to where it was.
Members of the Namibian police force in the Oshodonjupa region have intensified a manhunt for the 5 suspected armed robbers who allegedly stormed a fuel station at Otjiwarongo on Monday and stole more than 246,000 Namibian dollars. Let's take a listen.
Nampol's head of community affairs in the region, Senior Inspector Marin Beha, in an interview with Nampa on Tuesday said the armed robbery took place between 6 o'clock and 6:30 on Monday morning. Beha said preliminary police investigations indicated that a woman working for the filling station reportedly collected money from the filling station office and brought it to the main shop on the same premises. Mbeha further said at the time, 5 unknown men armed with a pistol, a machete, and an axe entered the shop. They then ordered everyone inside to lie down on the floor. They forced the manager inside the fuel station shop to open the safe, but since it was still not locked, the thieves easily accessed it and took more than 246,000 Namibian dollars before fleeing on foot. The 5 suspected armed robbers are still unknown and at large. The stolen money has not been recovered and police investigations into the matter continue. Konjeni Yambinga reporting for Primetime News.
Moving on, Project Never Walk Alone donated 1,700 pairs of shoes to school-going children in the Zambezi region over the weekend at a cost of 700,000 Namibian dollars. Ebakandovadu brings us more.
According to Tim Ekanjo, the founder for Project Never Walk Alone, the handover was jointly sponsored by Arachanap Community Trust with 500,000 Namibian dollars, Unity Trust with 150,000 Namibian dollars, Momentum Metropolitan Empowerment Trust with 140,000 Namibian dollars, and Bragvater Marine Industries with 100,000 Namibian dollars. The handover, which started at Katima Molilo Combined School on Friday and proceeded to the Caprivi Senior Secondary School on Saturday, saw the attendance of Zambezi Chief Regional Officer Regina Ndopu, who represented the Governor Lawrence Sampofu. The project is now planning to visit Karas and Oshana regions in the next few months. Ekanjo called upon like-minded partners to come on board to make it possible. Project Never Walk Alone ambassador Anne Singer remarked that the project has to date handed over 12,200 shoes in 9 regions. Konjeni Yambinga reporting for Primetime News.
Your top roundup is up next. Welcome to Primetime Biz, your premier source for all things business related. Kickstarting the segment, the Ministry of Mines and Energy announced on Tuesday that fuel prices for the month of August will remain unchanged. More from Ebakandovadu.
The ministry spokesperson Eshoshange Hashela said the price of petrol will remain at 22 Namibian dollars 20 cents per litre. Diesel 50 parts per million remains at 21 Namibian dollars 57 cents, while diesel 10 parts per million remains at 21 Namibian dollars 67 cents. According to Hashela, there has been a reduction in the shipping and freight costs for vessels bringing oil into the country from international oil markets. Sylvia Shondali reporting for Primetime News.
On to the business of acquisitions. The Althalva and List Group, or O&L Group of companies, has announced the successful acquisition of the remaining 49.9% shares in Brol Namibia, which were formerly owned by the Brol Property Group. This transaction, which became effective 1st July 2024, makes O&L the sole shareholder. This brings us to the end of tonight's top segment. It's now a look at tomorrow's countrywide conditions, followed by a roundup of the latest economic news and the Sport Planet segment. Welcome to Sport Planet, the segment dedicated to all things sporting action. We commence with football. The Namibia Football Association, or NFA, is actively preparing for the upcoming 2024-2025 Men's and Women's Premier League, as this season will introduce the first ever club licensing process. The two-day workshop on the Confederation of African Football, or CAF Club Licensing online platform commenced on Monday and is being attended by 64 officials from the 16 Debmarine Premiership clubs and 12 Women's Super League clubs. In an interview with the Namibia Press Agency earlier this week, NFA Education Officer Matthew Haikali said the club licensing initiative aims to provide clubs with the necessary information from CAF and to guide them towards a more professional approach. On to some tennis updates from the Olympics action in Paris, France. Novak Djokovic beat the punishing Heat and Germany's Dominik Kupfer today to set up a mouth-watering Olympic quarter-final against Stefanos Tsitsipas as he hunts an elusive gold medal. The Serbian top seed, who crushed Rafael Nadal in the previous round, came through 7-5, 6-3 in sweltering conditions in the first match on court, Philippe Chatrier. Thursday's quarter-final against Greece's Tsitsipas will be a repeat of the 2021 French Open final, which Djokovic won in 5 grueling sets. Tsitsipas, the world number 11, eased past Argentina's Sebastian Baez 7-5, 6-1 in his third-round tie. Stay tuned for your sports roundup. And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's midweek edition of Primetime News. Many thanks for tuning in. A reminder to follow the on-screen prompts and subscribe to the Nampa TV platform to stay updated on developments shaping the global village. Catch me again tomorrow. On behalf of myself, Salima Shumwefeleni Masipa, and the dedicated crew behind the scenes, it's good night.